You might have recently seen this on the news, and you might have completely ignored it because it says death sentence and Pakistan and blasphemy. You might have just thought of it as something completely normal that comes out of Pakistan, out of the Islamic world. You see, blasphemy and Pakistan sounds very usual. Who really cares about Pakistan and blasphemy? Death sentence in Pakistan, death sentence for blasphemy. Many of us have probably completely ignored these news. That's why this probably never even reached you and you have never heard of this. But imagine the following happens in the West, in the UK, in Germany, in America. Imagine someone is sentenced to death for blasphemy and is awaiting their death by the state for having opinions. Several days ago, a young man called Junaid Hafeez was sentenced to death in Pakistan for committing blasphemy, or more precisely for insulting Muhammad, a self-proclaimed prophet, a mere human, in the 7th century. He has been charged for violating Section 295C of the Pakistan Penal Code. The law reads in English, whoever by words, either spoken or written, or by visible representation, or by any imputation, innuendo, or insinuation, directly or indirectly defiles the sacred name of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, shall be punished with death, or imprisonment for life, and shall also be liable to fine. The law makes it very clear, if you disrespect Muhammad, the name of Muhammad, the Holy Prophet, then you are to be sentenced to death. And if that doesn't work out, then sentenced to life in prison. Imagine that happens somewhere in the West. You insult Jesus. People do it every day. And you are sentenced to death. Or maybe you can be sentenced to life in prison. Great, now you will have to rot for the rest of your life. You don't have to be killed. Junaid Hafeez is a bright mind who was born in Pakistan, who studied medicine in Pakistan, and later switched to English literature. He went to America, to Mississippi, Jackson State University, where he earned a master's degree in American literature, photography, and theater. In 2011, he returned to Pakistan, where he started teaching English literature. He was interested in making his country a better place. He wanted people to become more open-minded, to treat women better, to treat each other better, to be more liberal, more modern, to think, to be more enlightened. But Islamists at the university didn't like the fact that he was a very liberal mind and that he influenced students and others with a liberal way of thinking, with open-mindedness, with women's rights, and all these dangerous ideas. Which is why Islamist groups wanted him removed. They wanted him punished, put away, sentenced to death, and hanged for being too liberal, for corrupting society. Eventually, they accused him of using Facebook pages to spread blasphemy against Muhammad. As far as we know, it hasn't even been proven that he actually said anything insulting against Muhammad or the Islamic religion. But in 2013, he was arrested. In his first year, he was repeatedly attacked in prison as someone accused of blasphemy charges, which is unforgivable in Pakistan and in Islamic society. He was then put into solitary confinement in 2014. He spent 5 years waiting for a sentence, and eventually, just a few days ago, he was sentenced to death. For 5 years, you are waiting for something to happen, most likely to receive a death penalty. Junaid's first lawyer received so many death threats that he eventually resigned. His second lawyer, Rashid Rahman, who cared about human rights and wanted to defend people accused of blasphemy, was repeatedly threatened. He was threatened in court, witnessed by the judge. Yet nothing happened to those who threatened him, and after a while he was shot to death in his office. Junaid Hafeez now has a third lawyer, who is brave enough to represent him, and who faces threats every day. Meanwhile, Junaid Hafeez wants to appeal the death sentence. Amnesty International condemned Pakistan and asked them to release him. The United States condemned Pakistan and asked for his release. But as it seems, nothing will really happen. Junaid Hafeez is now in prison and he's awaiting his execution. No one knows when that will happen. It is said that even if Junaid Hafeez was released from prison, he would be in danger of being lynched by a mob and killed. Previously, Asia Bibi was lynched, but she survived, and she had to be flown out of the country when she was released from prison. Mashal Khan was lynched and killed in 2017, again for allegedly blaspheming. Now, some people might say the death sentence exists for blasphemy, but no one has actually been executed in Pakistan for blasphemy. They might think this is a good objection. We shouldn't cry, we shouldn't complain, because the law exists only to scare people into not blaspheming. But what kind of objection is that? What kind of disgusting statement is that? Do people find it funny that the state threatens people with such a law, with a death sentence, and that the state puts them away forever instead? Put yourself in Junaid Hafeez's position. How would you feel being in prison, knowing that you received a death sentence? Thinking, okay, no one has been executed so far, but what if I am the first one? What if it happens to me? What if I am the first person who is executed? We can never know. Each one of us who is sentenced to death could be the one who is actually executed. What if I am the one? What if they kill me? What if they want to make an example of me? What if I die and the Islamists of our nation watch me die and cheer? What if I am massacred by them just for wanting to make us better, just for caring about us, just for caring about humanity, just for caring about Pakistan, just for caring, for believing that we deserve a better society, a better world, for wanting to improve humanity, for wanting to help, for caring about minorities, for caring about women, for dreaming, for believing in something, just for wanting to be good, just for believing that I am doing something good. What if I die for that? What if I am killed for that in this dark place? Put yourself in his position, dear liberals in the West. You most of all. He is your ally. He is proposing to his country, to his nation, what you supposedly believe in. And he's facing a death sentence for that. Wake up. People receive life imprisonments and death sentences simply for having an opinion, simply for wanting to help women, for wanting to help minorities, for wanting to help the regular person in society, for believing in something good. Not for doing anything evil, not for wronging anybody, not for taking lives, not for robbery, not for rape. No, Islam is not just a religion like all the others. Islam is very distinct in how barbaric it has been and in how barbaric it still is. We are not all the same. We are not all equally flawed. While you are enjoying your life and complaining about petty problems, people receive death sentences for having an opinion, for believing in justice, for thinking we should be better in 2020. Wake up, humanity. Prevent what's happening in Pakistan. Prevent what's happening around the world. If we cannot come together and say no to the injustice that is happening in Pakistan, to Junaid Hafeez, and to so many people, to hundreds and thousands of people around the world, especially in Islamic countries, to minorities. If we don't want to say no to this, and if we approve of it, or if we are indifferent in the face of people being killed for their opinions, for their beliefs, for their disbeliefs, for their rejection of their beliefs and traditions, then why are we talking about anything at all? If you don't care about this, if you want to ignore this, then who are you to speak about justice? And to dream of change, to listen to a song about change and to think this is beautiful, or to watch a movie about humanity and to act like you are moved by that. This is where you need to stand up and say no to Junaid Hafeez and people like him being sentenced to death and imprisoned for life simply for believing. That's all. Thank you, and stay away from Islam.